So fair warning, the title is not hyperbole. If you have not seen this movie, then spoilers ahead. And hello everyone, my name is Navik and welcome to another video of Why I Love. And in this case, I'm talking about why I loved of the 2025 Superman movie. I literally saw it earlier today with some members of my family, and yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This movie is fucking awesome. It's honestly, there's so much I want to talk about this movie, but feeling like I love this movie so much, I got the popcorn bucket that my movie theater was going for, and like even the cup and stuff. And yeah, I just gotta say, between in My Adventures with Superman, some really awesome modern Superman runs like Philip Kennedy Johnson's and stuff. Of it, so some of the current runs and stuff. Joshua Williamson's doing really good comic stuff, and now this movie, and of course the Superman and Lois TV show. It really seems like the 2020s have been really good for the Big Blue Boy Scout. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk about some stuff I loved about this movie. And first off, one thing I do love is the fact that this universe, this new DC universe, it is a fully established universe. And not just talking about the fact that we've technically had some other entries before with, because technically Blue Beetle, old Peacemaker, and bits of the Suicide Squad are in canon, but more like just the fact that this is a universe where metahumans and superhumans, they've just existed for a while. Like the opening text of the movie shows that metahumans have been around for 3 centuries, which goddamn that can encompass a lot of DC history. And also, and yeah, I'm definitely thinking, and they might lean into some Justice Society stuff over the future. But as for Superman, and yeah, this is one thing I like. James Gunn, he listed a lot of comics that served as inspiration for Superman, like All-Star Superman, Superman of All Seasons, stuff like that. But one thing I got is that this is a Superman who's only 3 years into his career. He's at an interesting point in time where he technically does have experience. He's a well-known presence, but he also is still relatively young into his career. It honestly kind of reminded me of how Grant Morrison inhaled Superman in his Action Comics run when the New 52 started. And hell, there's even a bit of Greg Pak's Superman and from Action Comics, this iteration of Superman, which, hey, I love both those Action Comics runs, so that was a major treat for me. Especially because, yeah, it's a younger Superman who, the whole reason why a lot of this conflict starts is that Superman, he basically inserts himself into a conflict happening between two warring nations. And yeah, Superman didn't really care about the political implications. He just knew that people were going to die, and he couldn't really stand doing that. He couldn't really stand by and let that happen. And that's that's the thing that makes this movie work, because out of all the live action movies that have come since the original Donner films, and this is probably a sentiment that you're gonna hear from a lot of YouTubers, because, well, it's true. This movie, it gets that despite all his powers, despite his alien heritage, despite all the fantastical stuff surrounding him and about him, Superman, Clark Kent, Kal-El, whoever you want to call him, at the end of the day, he is just a guy. He's just a nice guy who wants to use his incredible power to protect people. Well, he's human. Hell, despite not being human, he's often more human than a lot of other people, especially Lex Luthor. And I gotta say, David Cornsweet had absolutely killed it as Superman, because he basically, there have been some actors that capture the physicality of Superman, but don't really get the more human Clark side. Right? And yeah, David Cornsweet, he basically captured every aspect of this character. Again, especially this sort of experience, but also sort of younger take on Superman. Yeah, he, like I said, he definitely, it's probably the most emotive that Superman's been in a live action film in forever. And honestly, it's not just David Cornswet that's really good. The entire cast is just doing a really awesome job, even with smaller roles. Also, like Lois Lane felt like Lois Lane. Jimmy Olsen felt like Jimmy Olsen for the brief bits we got with him. And the entire Daily Planet crew just feels great. Like with like you, because we even got Steve Lombard's arts like jackass sports guy in there, and hey, we even saw Dan Troop in there or at one point, which that was always nice. Nice, and also the people, the Justice Gang, like the proto Justice League that got in here, all a bunch of interesting characters, especially Mr. Terrific. Like, if you had told me like 10 years ago that Mr. Terrific would be one of the best parts of a Superman movie, I'd call you crazy, but hey, I love Mr. Terrific. He's been one of the pinnacle members of the Justice Society since their modern inception by James Robinson and Jeff Johns. And quite honestly, I'm happy to see that this movie is going to make a lot more Mr. Terrific fans. It's definitely made some of my family members like really into Mr. Terrific. Nathan and Fillion killed it as Guy Gardner. This is basically just Guy Gardner fully realized from the comics that are and the cartoons in live action form. Or Hawkgirl, kind of wish that there was more done with Hawkgirl, but the brief bits he did that, I love that. And she definitely has the usual Hawk hero mentality of not being as soft as other heroes. I didn't think like the battle like Hawk screech they gave her was kind of goofy, but then again, that's this movie's whole mantra. It is unapologetically a comic book movie with all a comic book superhero movie and all the goofiness that comes with it, because you got parallel pocket dimensions that comes out of nowhere, or metahumans just being a regular thing, kaijus being grown in a lab, clones of superheroes being grown in a lab, all kinds of weird nanotechnology from a character like the Engineer here, and of course like ridiculous concepts like Crypto to Superdog. And let me tell you, Crypto is just honestly really endearing, because my family has a dog who, yeah, he is an energetic, undisciplined dog, and he acts a lot like Crypto in this movie. When the dog is in danger, you go after him. So you go after the people who took him. So people were using that like sneak peek scene of Superman being angry at Crypto being stolen, and as like signs that David Cornswet Superman was going to be weak and over emotional. Like, no, dude, when someone steals your dog, you're right to get pissed. And honestly, again, this Superman just generally feels like just a guy. A really good, really powerful guy, but still just a guy. And speaking of performances that I think are really good, I think the one who stole the show was Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Like, holy crap! Like he nailed Lex Luthor. He nailed the ultimate like tragedy of the character. He has everything a human can want. He's one of the most intelligent people on the planet, and he's one of the wealthiest billionaires on the planet with incredible influence, and yet he can't stand the very concept of Superman. And because here's a man with all that power being good, and a man who doesn't need all of Lex Luthor's resources to make an impact on the world, and people love him, and Lex can't stand that. Nicholas Hoult and the entire cast and crew, the writing and all the filmmaking and stuff, it really nailed how much of an egotistical, petty bitch Lex Luthor is in the comics. It's like, we're talking about a man who canonically made it so that if anyone learns Superman's secret identity, they will pretty much die of a heart attack. Like, all because Lex Luthor wasn't the first one to learn that Clark Kent was Superman. And that is how petty he is. I think nothing fits the whole thing about just how much of a waste Lex Luthor's intellect is used for his petty revenge against Superman than the fact that in this movie he literally has an army of mind-controlled monkeys literally typing out out hate speech for Superman online. I'm basically forming a hate mob and basically making bots to just smear Superman. And I absolutely love that. And again, that's a goofy concept, but like I said, this movie is basically just it's a superhero comic, warts and all. And it generally and like the fact that the movie doesn't like start off with the origin of Superman's origin, like Krypton exploding, and his parents putting him in a spaceship, which we'll talk about his parents in a bit. And also not seeing his origin growing up and stuff up in Smallville. Well, it literally does nail the feeling of picking up a new run on Superman when you go for the first time. Everything's already established, and you're just there for the ride to see what the creative team are gonna do with it. And honestly, in terms of style, honestly, this movie kind of is what I imagine Al Ewing writing Superman would be like. And kind of like Al Ewing in his like New Avengers / USA Avengers era, where the book has an equal mix of great comedy, filling it like kind of a modern Silver Age-esque vibe. And well, yeah, let's get. And yeah, sometimes there's a bit. Again, I do have some criticisms about the movie. Like, it's a big CGI fest of a movie, which, to be honest, for someone like Superman, and all the crazy fantastical shit you gotta do with all different kinds of superpowers. There's the kaiju, all the crazy, and like at some point the world being almost broken in half because of a pocket dimension going haywire. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to do this movie practically. You kind of had to make it a CGI fest, and yeah, sometimes the CGI kind of looks a bit fakey and floaty, but it's not enough to detract from the overall experience, because that's what this is. It's an experience. And yeah, one revelation of there, and yeah, they did change some stuff to the origin, like Superman, and he wasn't just sent to Earth because Krypton was dying and stuff, and Jor-El and Lara wanted to give their son a better chance. In this version of events, they apparently sent him to kind of basically turn Earth into a new Krypton, and they don't say that Lex Luthor, and I thought I was going to reveal that Lex tampered with the footage to make it look like Superman's parents sent him to conquer Earth to get all of humanity against Superman, which they could have easily done, but no, there's no counterpoint to that. It really does seem like that's what Jor-El and Lara sent Clark to go do. Ooh. Although, part of me is thinking that it might be revealed that, I don't know, because if they introduce Zod in this movie, it could just be very well that maybe Zod kind of forced them to make that message, or Zod intercepted with it and tampered with it, kind of like in that Gods and Monsters version of those Gods and Monsters animated shorts that came out a few years ago. Oh, I don't know, just where Zod kind of tampered with Superman's birthing matrix, so maybe something similar like that happened with the message. Though then again, it could just be following the My Adventures with Superman route, where Krypton was more of a conquering space empire, or that got destroyed by their own hubris. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with that. Also, we got to see Supergirl at the end. And then, yeah, it seems like they are leaning into more or the plot of. We kind of already knew that the plot of the Supergirl movie was going to borrow heavy from Tom King's Superwoman of Tomorrow comic, which I have still not read that one yet, but I hear it's really good. So, and apparently she does start that comic going to her planets and it's a Red Suns to get drunk, and though she is bringing Crypto with her this time, so as nothing else for that new Supergirl movie, we are going to see more Crypto, so I'm willing to see more of her destructive good boy in a film. And one thing I also kind of really liked is that there was a surprising amount of Wildstorm references in here. Like, not just with the Engineer, like the Engineer's kind of used as kind of like one of Lex Luthor's minions in the movie, which some people might say, oh, they're kind of villainizing her, but let's be honest, the Engineer was a member of the Authority. They basically lean more into the anti part of anti-hero. Where we're talking about a super team who willingly drowned an entire alternate Earth nation. Granted, it was an alternate Earth that was made of a bunch of evil invading racist aliens. But still a lot of mass murder on Earth for their team. So, and we do know there's an Authority movie down the line. So we can probably see where they're going with that. And also, I can't be the only one who think that Lex Luthor's Planet Watch was kind of meant to be kind of a take on Stormwatch. I kind of do wish they called it Stormwatch as a bit of a reference, but then again, considering the whole point of that they were meant to protect the planet, and I can see why they just called it Planet Watch. And one last thing I'll take away from the movie is that, James Gunn obviously, it's a movie that feels both like a classic Superman movie, but you can also tell this is James Gunn's take on Superman because, the movie does have a lot of comedic moments. I do think like maybe some of the jokes could be cut off or at least not placed immediately after some moments. But the moments where the film needs to land emotionally, they actually do let it land emotionally and be dramatic and be sincere. Here, it's not like kind of MCU humor where it feels like there's a bit of secondhand embarrassment that they are making a superhero movie. No, like I said, this is a comic book superhero movie. They're embracing the fact that it is a comic book superhero movie, and honestly, the movie is all the more better for being earnest with its comedy than just being deprecating with its comedy. And I'll say this: the moment where like Pa Kent and was like giving a pep talk to Clark in the arc on the farm, I'm gonna be honest, I almost teared up in the theater. Or what can I say? I'm a big softie for moments like that. And also, I noticed that there weren't as much as the whole James Gunn soundtrack thing. Like, I think the only time like a song popped up from like one of his playlists was during Mr. Terrific's fight with a bunch of the Luthor Corps Raptor squad. And of course, at the end with the "I'm a Punk Rocker, Yes I Am" song from Iggy Pop. And goddamn, I've never listened to Iggy Pop music, but after this movie, I probably have to check out more of his stuff. He seems, because that song at the end was awesome. That's my overall current thoughts on the 2025 Superman movie. This is technically the big cinematic start to the new DC universe, and based on a first impression, I'm really excited. Haven't been this excited because, this definitely seems like DC Studios, they learned their lessons from the DCEU. It learned, instead of just trying to repeat or catch up with Marvel, it's better to just do their own thing. They fully embrace it to an already established universe and take advantage of the fact that a lot of the general public, they know who Superman is. They know that superheroes are a thing. There's no need to explain this concept or treat it like it's new. Because it isn't. So we're just getting, this universe just feels like it's off to a really good start, especially since it seems to be mixing a whole bunch of eras from DC, because it feels like it's mixing eras from Golden Age to Bronze Age DC, all the way to adding to some influences from the New 52 to Rebirth, Earth, and of course a surprising amount of Wildstorm stuff. Like I'm not the only one who thinks that the pocket dimension Lex Luthor discovery was meant to be kind of like the Bleed, am I? So yeah, I am super excited to see where the rest of this new universe is going, and especially with new stuff like Peacemaker Season 2 coming out, the Supergirl movie coming out next year, there's a Batman and a Robin movie in the work, there's a Green Lantern show, which I can't wait to see what the rest of the Green Lantern cast are like in this movie. And that's why I love this movie, because it honestly feels like they did Superman right. Thank you for watching this long-ass video. As always, I really appreciate you guys checking out my videos. I wasn't just watching all the way through. And as always, have a great day.